Turn left.
Why is she drunk? Maybe she has dementia. How'd you get up here? On the train tracks?
She literally says she was just following directions.
We saw Kale Zeldin sent me that. That's a real clip of a woman who drove on the train tracks. And when I saw it, I said, we need to bring back women driver videos to the show. We haven't had a good woman driver intro video in quite some time. So I sent that clip to Taffy, and Taffy said, yes, but I have to put my signature on it. So he added Lila at the beginning. I was looking forward to this one tonight. It's always good when we have a Thursday show and the Catholic media actually has stories out there.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, well, we got good clips to play, and
you sent me literally 40 things.
Yes, I did, but I know what I'm doing. Whoa, that's terrible. I know what I'm doing. I have reason to my madness. So if you go to the Telegram and you see June 3rd, like right where it says June 3rd, the first clip is the first thing we're going to play. But before we get into that, I actually have a knick-knack success story. Joe Boca. When Joe Boca started working at my company,
June 3rd anywhere, but okay.
Yeah, what do you mean? It's the first thing I sent on June 3rd. You're slamming the brakes on things. Are we in sync here? What's going on? All right, so Joe Boca started working at my company a couple of weeks ago, and when he started, he was awful, dude. Like awful. Like he was terrible. So much so that I was like, oh man, I kind of regret bringing him here.
Sure, it just wasn't his supervisor and
no. I'm telling you. And then I gave him some knickknacks this week. And this week was like transformative. And now he's being sent out on solo missions. He's working with different foremen. My uncle,
dude, having him go get you espresso and pizza isn't
no. He's driving trucks now. It's good. He had a miraculous turnaround this week. He's very excited to be at the job. He's doing very well. So I'm very glad that Joe Boca is our knickknack success story this week. Go to knickknack.com, bring the banner up so I can make sure I say the right. Put in code 25% for 25% off your first purchase. Use code AB10 for 10% off subsequent purchases. We love knickknack.com. They are a miraculous substance. They do contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive substance, but it will change your life. That's the pitch. It's an addictive substance, but one that will change your life. Go to knickknack.com. We also have Black Mark.
I don't know if this is his internet or my internet.
It's yours. It's yours for sure.
I don't know what the hell's going on here.
It's your internet. You can't hear me. We're way off. Reboot your computer again.
What?
Reboot your computer again.
Trust me, it's not the computer. It could be the internet, but it's not the computer.
It's definitely your internet.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, but it's very delayed. There's a delay between our talking.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Like a significant delay.
Let me see. I'm gonna have to pound a few dozen of these just to deal with this issue.
Wait, I want to know if it's my internet or yours, though.
I don't know. Last night I was having issues. I know it was me last night.
Yeah, my internet looks like it's doing fine. Looks like it's doing. You guys hear me fine? Yeah, everybody hears me fine. So it's just a delay between us. So, all right. So Black Monk Rosaries, bring that banner up. Black Monk Rosaries, go to blackmonkrosaries.com. Use code Avoiding Babylon at checkout, and you'll get 10% off. We love Black Monk Rosaries. They're the most heavy-duty rosary I've ever seen. I buy them as gifts for everyone. They're amazing.
I hear they're talking about making them illegal to carry in Great Britain. They can be used like a weapon.
If what's his name? Nowak would have had
Henry Novak had had one, he would have been okay.
If he'd have had a Black Monk Rosary on him, that Sikh never would have stood a chance.
Probably shouldn't say that, but it's kind of terribly insensitive.
I don't know his name though. I have to call him the Sikh. Oh, yeah, it is terribly insensitive.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you make fun of the.
Oh, you just think it's insensitive because he isn't with us anymore?
Yeah, I don't care if you make fun of the flipping Pajit that killed him.
All right, go to blackmonkrosaries.com. Use code Avoiding Babylon at checkout.
Yeah.
So all right. So if you go to so we on Locals the other night we're talking about this the head of EWTN something department, whatever. She gets
their CEO, the whole CEO.
She was the CEO of EWTN.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think she was that high up. I think she was like
I'm pretty sure she was the CEO
or something. I don't know, whatever she was. She gets offered the position of Vatican's communications director. And Rob had mentioned the other night, like, because we didn't know anything about her yet. We just know she worked for EWTN and the reputation.
Oh, she was the president and chief operating officer.
COO. Okay.
COO.
She was the COO. So,
Ocean, we have talked about this.
Like, I'm not doing this again. Anyway, so we had spoken about her the other night. We didn't know much about her, but we had known that Pope Francis was not a fan of EWTN because of all the criticism that Raymond Arroyo was giving him and things like that. So Rob was thinking,
usually if Mike Lewis hates a person, they're usually okay, but
yeah. But they were all awfully quiet about this one.
They were, weren't they?
They were awfully quiet, and maybe people were going and finding old tweets of his, but he didn't really have much to say on this one. And you got to watch it when those guys are quiet, because they're a little wiser when it comes to just firing off opinions sometimes, apparently. So Rob had said, we're going from this gay liberal Italian guy, and I know she's a woman.
That's 3 times redundant, but okay.
Yeah, no. So, the idea that she's coming from EWTN and she's younger, maybe that could be seen positively. And then the clips start coming out. And then we start finding things out. And what we have found out is that she's very involved with the Philos Project. She's Opus Dei. She's a hardcore feminist. I mean, some of these clips that we're going to play are bad. And to the point where she's saying things that I've never even heard people at the Philos Project make claims as bold as she has. Like, straight out saying that Jews don't need to convert.
That's just crazy.
It's just heretical. Like, right off the, like, it's just
like, even your most hardcore Catholic Zionist, when pushed, will at least kind of say that, yeah, Jews should become Catholic still.
Yes. I mean, I've never heard, for all the grief that they're giving, Joe Heschmeyer or Gideon Lazar, they're giving them a lot of grief, but those guys would never say something like this.
No, Gideon says oftentimes he wants all Jews to become Catholic.
Yeah, that's like his sole mission, is to try and convert Jews. Like Gideon is. I think his country.
Did you know she even said in the context he didn't need to convert?
Gideon, I think, like, some of his most controversial takes are that Jews should be allowed to keep their
cultural heritage,
cultural rights, right? Like, so they should still be able to celebrate Seder meals and even like all of their
outside of a religious liturgical sense. Yes.
He says as long as they see them in a way that is that they're fulfilled in Christ, that, so it's like, it's a controversial take, especially when you put it up against some of the things the early church fathers had said, things like that. But I understand where he's coming from. At least it's a conversation you could have with the guy and you can understand it. Like he argues that there should be a Jewish rite of the mass, you know, like a Jewish liturgical rite of the mass for converts from Israel. Like that's kind of where he's an acculturated.
He says
Jewish
Hebrew,
rite
right?
of the
But
mass.
yeah.
So so even those guys would never say something like that. I am very tempted to even.
Ed texted me the other day, and I'll be honest, I'd be like, well, I'll admit I'm not instantly against it, but why would we do that?
I'd have to come up with like a good reason to talk with him. I probably wouldn't talk to him. I would talk to him about addiction, maybe, because those conversations are always good, you know. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
So for the layman, what is the Philos Project? Well, number one, it is defunct right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I just saw Gideon the other day. Someone accused Joe Heschmeyer of being funded by it, and the comments to our video about Joe, and Joe responded like saying, but anyways, Gideon said something about that it's no longer in operation.
So the Philos Project was an attempt for Jews and Catholics to get together to try to change the narrative, I believe, and they were having Catholic presenters come. They were heavily funding trips to Israel for different Catholics to go there, things like that. There was very heavy Opus Dei involvement. Trent Horn had given a speech for the Philos Project that we, brought up on our show, that we criticized. George Weigel was involved over there. There was a lot of guys that were going over there and giving these presentations, and it's not like they were saying anything like blatantly like it wasn't like there was anything blatantly problematic in what they were saying. It was just my main contention with it was they were in a setting where there were other people who were saying ridiculous things. There were Jews coming up and saying the reason there's so much anti-Semitism from Catholics right now is because Catholics are jealous of Jews because they have a higher birth rate, things like that. Like there was some crazy things said at this function. Sounds like I want to be prioritized in the FBI watch list. There were some crazy things said at this thing. Now, while Trent Horn didn't say those things, it was still my main issue is
like
what is the real
credence
danger
to it?
Yeah, and like what is the real danger here? Is there really a danger of this big anti-Semitic problem where there's going to be another Holocaust? Like I don't think any scenario.
Whoa. What did you just say?
that is their position, right? Their position is that we need to get this anti-Semitism under control because there'll be another Holocaust, And the point I always have, the point I've been making for the past year or two is that the danger is not that there will be another pogrom or something like that. The danger is that they're presenting a version of Catholicism that is so neutered and does not see that there's a true issue with modern Judaism and its contention against Catholicism. And that there is a real contention between those two, and that Catholics, when they forget that contention, they actually lose they lose so much of the faith. They especially when the way things are shaping out right now, and that they could be roped into supporting some very evil things because they think that's the right thing to do. So that's kind of my issue with this. So let's did you find the first clip I sent over on June 3rd?
Yeah, but let's read the super chat real quick just because it's a super chat.
They opened the Sopranos themed pizza parlor with pictures from the show. I've been trying to sneak a picture of Anthony inside and hope no one notices. Somebody in my group chat said they gave a picture of me to Chat GPT or Grok or something and said if this guy was going to play in a TV show or movie, what movie or TV show would it be? And right away I went to Sopranos, Goodfellas, things like that. So, but all right, let's jump into this first clip. If you guys haven't heard these clips, they're kind of outrageous.
So it's from today, right? The first clip from today.
The first clip from yesterday. The first tweet I sent you from yesterday.
Okay, I got that.
Yeah, it's above the Archdiocese of Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I want.
It didn't come over fully, but yeah, I got it here.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys haven't heard these clips, they're kind of outrageous. They're offensive. Opus Dei was created
a long time before that.
Opus Dei was
created
founded by
Jose Maria Escriva,
Jose
in the
Maria
early
Escriva,
1900s.
Yeah. It may have been infiltrated in the 80s. I could see that.
Yeah, or maybe got big in the, well, I think it was big before the 80s, but anyways.
I appreciated that you chose that document for a couple other less pious reasons. One, in that it's short, okay?
Yeah.
Very short. It might be the shortest, along with Dignitatis Humanae of the Vatican II canon, if you will. But also, for those who are new to that document, it discusses the relationship of the faith to non-Christian religions. And so, what about your relationship with her? What did she appreciate about that document that changed you, that moved you?
So I met her in the Holy Land. Yeah, I've been there twice through a partnership with the Philos Project, which is a group.
This isn't terrible women Wi-Fi. It's terrible Rob Wi-Fi.
No. I think he's talking about the video quality of the women.
Yeah, that video does not have terrible Wi-Fi. It's your internet, I think.
No, it's not. It appears on my screen the exact same way it's appearing in this.
Yeah, but when I sent the clip, it doesn't show that way.
He is just saying it's crap video quality.
It's perfect video quality on my phone.
No, it's not perfect video quality.
I'm hearing it like jumbled and like pausing. The girls aren't moving fast. Like the voices are moving faster than the women. And when I play it on my phone, the same exact tweet, it's playing perfectly fine, is what I'm saying.
It's playing perfectly fine for me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what. But I don't think we're seeing it perfectly fine.
Maybe. Could be. I don't know what's going on. So is it intelligible for you guys?
Yeah, you can hear it, but the video quality is awful, but it's all right.
This is like co-sleeping 3.0 in real time.
We're gonna fight over Rob's Wi-Fi. All right, yeah. It's no big deal. She's about to get into her diatribe right now. We'll go.
It is interesting that the COO of EWTN can't pull off better.
Yeah, she's got a worse. She's got a worse webcam than I do.
Yeah.
That advocates for for Christianity in the Middle East, but also positive Christian engagement in the Middle East, and they're very much pro.
Now it's better. Okay.
Yeah.
So defending the Jewish community and learning about soft forms of anti-Semitism, which I think is really important because it's part of what this document talks about. And so she was one of the guides on the tour, and she loves the Catholic Church and the Catholic tradition, and we started chatting. So it came up in that context, but also I had it on my mind when I met you because there was this subcurrent of criticisms of
can't even say the word right.
Of the Holy Father, of Pope Francis, around supersessionism, and that's a really big word.
Yeah.
And it's a word that basically says someone who's trying to say that Christianity nullifies the Jewish faith, right? It's rather than them being our brothers and sisters and our us being hand in hand walking towards salvation and them being the chosen people. There's this idea that all Jews should become Christians, which obviously is wrong.
Whoa, I knew it was coming, but still.
Dude, this is so problematic. Like, I'm telling you, the Hebrew Catholics would not say what this woman is saying.
No, they're probably more pissed than we are.
Jews and Christians are not brothers and sisters in faith walking towards salvation together. I'm sorry. No, they're not. They are diametrically opposed. The
They're
Jews
the older
are
brother who's trying to trip us on the way the whole damn
yes,
time.
they are. You're talking about they are siblings in that one is Cain, one is Abel. They are siblings in one is Jacob, one is Esau. There is no we're walking towards salvation together. Now that doesn't mean there isn't still a role for Jews to play in salvation history, though. Like, but supersessionism is the proper way to view this, where the modern Judaism and the rites of modern Judaism are no longer valid. They do not attain salvation for Jewish people in any way whatsoever.
Well, the current rites of Judaism were never valid, right? They were made up hundreds of years after.
Once the temple's destroyed, there's no way for them to expiate sins. It's a totally different religion than came out of the first century.
God gave them 40 years from the crucifixion of Christ to the destruction of the temple, showing them each year that their Day of Atonement is failing. He gave them 40 years of that, a whole generation, trying to show them, hey, guys, it's over. It's done with. It doesn't work. And then he's like, okay, well, now it's time to destroy it.
It's what it really does is show the danger of the Philos project. Or the Philos project, whatever it is. It shows the danger of it because this woman is associated with them. She's being taught this is what she believes because of the garbage she's learning at that Philos project. So now she's getting on and she's having this conversation, and how many countless people are also going to believe this nonsense, this garbage that she's talking about here? Because I think there's a lot of Catholics today who do think this.
Especially the sort of Catholic that watches EWTN all the time, that kind of boomer, Novus Ordo conservative Catholic. They tend to be very supportive of Israel, things like that.
It was hard for even my mom to grasp this stuff because, I mean, you had, even during JP2's pontificate, you had Mother Teresa coming out and saying things like, if you're a Jew, be a good Jew. If you're a Muslim, be a good Muslim. If you're a Buddhist, be a good Buddhist. Like that kind of stuff is confusing, and that all it stems from Nostra Aetate. Don't get me wrong, but
it stems even further back from the stuff we're going to talk about next week on Freemasonry.
Yes,
on the
100%.
Enlightenment.
Yeah, if you guys have the last episode was a little slow because we covered the same historical period than we did the episode before, so it was a little bit slow. What we have coming up for this next papal encyclical series is going to be really good. So, all right, let's play the rest of this
Templar, Illuminati.
Yeah, it's going to be
Hermeticism. It's going to be good.
So, all right, play the rest of this one, and then we have more clips.
I'm going to back it up so we can all hear her say Jews don't need to become Christian again.
Or, us being hand in hand walking towards salvation and then being the chosen people, there's this idea that all Jews should become Christians, which obviously is wrong. And so that was a very scary moment for me, watching the commentary around the Pope's efforts to engage with the peripheries, to engage with religious minorities who haven't been invited to explore the beauty of the faith within the context of a friend of mine who was non-Christian, right?
But who loves the church.
But who adores what the church is doing and sees the flourishing of the church as a protection for her own faith.
Oh, beautiful. Well, okay, let me backtrack a sec.
That is so materialistic. Love what the church is doing. I'm sure she means in terms of humanitarianism and
it's like when Whoopi Goldberg
stuff like
it's
that.
It's like when Whoopi Goldberg said she loved what the Pope was doing with the gays. You know what I mean? It's like these people are going to become Catholic. They're just like, oh, I kind of like what this Pope is doing. He's like, he's kind of cool with the gays. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you people. All right, the next clip is the American Reform clip. So I sent you two American Reform clips
from today, right?
That should be from today, correct? So American Reform did the dirty work, and he slogged his way through this entire podcast, and he pulled some good clips for us. So shout out to American Reform. If you guys are not following him on X, he is a great follow.
I tried one time in my life. I tried to be a little bit optimistic. It has just been dead.
I know, it blew up in you. First of all, as soon as I saw it was a woman, I was like, nah.
I know, me too.
But you did. I will give you credit. Rob did say, look, I know she's a woman. He's like, I know she's a woman, but you know, she's from EWTN. She's a little younger. Like maybe we're getting the boomers out. That was like your optimism was more about his point was Leo the 14th is going to oversee the replacement of boomers with millennials. And
if his pontificate if he lives to be 80, 85, his pontificate is going to be the pontificate that oversees that transition.
Yeah,
so
we will see the end of that revolutionary generation that came up in Vatican II's.
So for better or
shadow.
worse, that transition I think is going to be what is his legacy, for better or worse, right? However he handles that. And I thought, this is way different than any appointment would have been under Francis, but it's terrible.
All right, so let's go to this next clip.
And I don't know what they know. And so I get to ask and compare and say, well, we have this on Sunday. What do you do? We have, if you go to Shabbat, so if you have Friday night dinner at a Jewish family's home, it's funny, a lot of the prayers, one, they're beautiful, two, they're like super feminist, which is the most beautiful thing ever, to have a head of the household, a father in front of his children, praise his wife for a good 15 minutes. So it's wonderful.
Is everyone listening to that? Go find it.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, that is. Go find it and tell your husband, like, can you pray this before we eat?
Yeah, we're gonna. But
it's truly fantastic, and it's ordered in the most.
I want to tell you what's going on here. She's on with this woman, and they know nobody watches their videos. And she's just out there blurting what she really thinks without even a thought that this could get picked up. And
years later that this will be picked up. And like, it's just blurting out two women's voicing their true opinions. It's super feminist. Like, you should be Jewish. You should be Jewish. Tell your husband to become Jewish so that he can say this prayer. Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Oh yeah, a husband gets up and prays 15 minutes and says good things about his wife. Oy vey. Oh, it's super feminist. It's amazing.
Now I see why our former adversary in the diaconate is a Zionist.
The irony is that women will accuse us of hating Jews for saying they should become Catholic, but we're the ones trying to save their souls. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're like, this is honestly why you're not like women should not. This is why women should not be discussing theology like this. Like, she's not in any position to. She's super.
She
feminist.
Clearly knows nothing. Yeah, this is good. Jewish line goes through the mother. That's probably why they pray to them. Every matrilineal society in the history of the world is matrilineal for basically one reason. That's because they, for whatever reason, tend to not know who their father is, so they have to trace their descent through their mother. Now, that's because their fathers tend to rape whatever woman they want. I don't know.
All right, so we got one more clip, which is also bad.
Fun, yay.
What does it mean?
It came up within the context of some remarks that were misinterpreted. Our Holy Father can't go a week without someone saying that what he said actually meant something else.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. I think it's because he's surrounded by men, but.
And there's our feminine genius plug.
We have a tendency to see the world through clearer eyes, I think, and with better intentions. We always have good intentions in the way that we speak and the way that we hope that other people are speaking about us. But that's just my shout out to him in hoping that he'll continue to engage in bringing lay women into the church and surrounding him as well and helping his ministry. But I think that
what is it?
Mother Angelica would have beat this woman with a cane.
You want to know what's funny? They know who we are.
What do you mean?
That woman knows who we are.
Maybe.
No, I promise you that woman knows exactly who we are. Everyone at the Philos Project knows who we are. Everyone over at the Philos Project knows.
Look, just
avoiding
because you
Babylon.
walked into a doctor's office this week,
No,
and
it's not
someone
because of that.
recognized your voice, doesn't
Listen
mean
to me.
everyone knows who you are.
I'm going to tell you that did happen though. I'm going to tell you, I think that they worry more about our show than they do about like women always have good intentions. So yeah, totally oblivious. Like oh man, totally oblivious. I think that they actually do worry about our show because we have discussed this topic in a very careful way, and it hasn't been. It's almost like the way we discuss it, we can't be accused of anti-Semitism because we're not using low IQ anti-Semitic tropes.
And we've had
like
the discussion with Gideon, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so I'm fairly certain they all know who we are and they don't want our platform raised in any way whatsoever. You know, I'm not trying to sound arrogant because it does, but that's a fairly accurate statement. Like there's a lot of people who would rather pretend we don't exist, but you know.
Yeah, Anthony he's letting it get to his head that we hit 100,000 before Joe Heschmeyer did.
Did we? He's not at 100K?
No. He, as of yesterday, he had like 9.3. He'll get it this week probably.
Well, we have a crazy Joe Heschmeyer story.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do that here, or you want to do that on locals?
I think that is more of a locals thing. Let's finish up with whatever we're going to do more with this subject.
Yeah.
Go to the Exorcist and then go over to locals.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, really with this topic, it's just anybody that had hopes that, oh, we got an EWTN American over in the Vatican. Man, I just see this as, it's just, I don't know. The gay Italian might have been a better one. I don't know. It's just, this is bad. It's bad because she understands the American media landscape.
Yeah.
And in some ways, being more media savvy about the American media landscape is more dangerous. It's part of the reason why I think Leo himself was elected, why Prevost was elected, was because of the fiasco that was going on in the American media, the American Catholic media space under Francis, right? You have Taylor Marshall, Tim Gordon, all these guys, even like the papal posse, and you have pretty much everybody unanimously in the conservative Catholic media space was critical of Pope Francis. So now you get Pope Leo in, and Leo's a little more media savvy than Francis was. He throws some smells and bells and, you know, throws a little Latin in here and there. And all of a sudden the American media landscape tones down.
Yep.
And there's look, you still have your Uber trads who are going after Leo. We just decided we just don't care to talk about it, but like it's not good, you know, like it's no better over there. There's a couple of things better in that you're not getting those insane headlines out of Rome every day like you used to under Francis. But in some ways it's worse because Leo is way more media savvy. He knows how to kind of keep the what would I say? Like he knows how to keep the headlines low while still appointing wicked people to positions.
Yeah.
That's the biggest criticism of him. He's just continuing on. Like, and they removed liturgy from the consistory they're doing in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? It was supposed to be liturgy at the last consistory. They didn't discuss it there. They're like, no, we're going to push it to the next one. Then the headline comes out about the consistory coming up in June, and they knock liturgy off the pallet again. But what does Leo say 2 weeks ago or last week? Leo's like, oh, liturgy. He's telling priests they have to stop making the liturgy their own playground and things like that. It's like he knows what to say to get people happy, like the conservatives not upset and not wiling out, and then just doing what Francis did without the craziness. And I think this girl being moved over there is probably more media savvy, especially American media savvy. Just
especially with like the boomer donut class, right? The EWTN crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, and they love their women, those boomer, especially the boomer Catholic men are the biggest simps on the planet. Like, they're worse than any other group. They are the biggest simps on earth. I mean, even Michael Matt, Mr. Trad Michael Matt,
They take what night and go, yeah.
He simps for Lila Rose. It's like
they invented white knighting, basically.
Oh, they're terrible. They all think they're white knights. They all think they need to defend these helpless women. These helpless women who are defenseless against these meanies on the internet. Like, you men are awful.
It's funny how nearly misogynistic their white knighting actually is.
Yeah, for sure. It's like liberals with the blacks, right? It's like the bigotry of low expectations with women for Catholic boomer men. It's terrible.
All I know, as far as that subject goes, all I know is Ozempic is going to have a run for its money with the new wave of diabetes coming from the Kool-Aid pineapple jars.
I wanted to get pineapple and Kool-Aid for us to try on the show tonight, but that bit's kind of run itself into the ground.
It would still be. We could each record us trying it this weekend and upload it on locals.
I said boomer men. I said boomer men. Some of the older women who watch this show are awesome. Like, we have several older women who watched our show, and they are awesome. But boomer men,
they still should not. They need to be careful driving, and they should not grass.
They have good senses of humor. They understand. All right. So then the other main story that has come out is the main story that's also in the headlines today is Monsignor Rossetti being removed as exorcist from the Diocese of Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And I think that and that's Cardinal McElroy. And let's bring up what the Archdiocese's statement was first.
Stephen, you're lucky Mrs. Casey is not in the chat right now.
What's crazy is they deleted the tweet with the announcement.
Did they?
Yes. Wow. They deleted the tweet with the announcement because of the pushback they got. Holy cow.
Well, you know what? That shows a level of self-awareness I wasn't aware they had.
Okay, so the Archdiocese of Washington announced today that Robert Cardinal McElroy has removed Monsignor Stephen Rossetti, a priest of the Diocese of Syracuse, New York, as an exorcist of the Archdiocese of Washington, and ended all affiliation between the Archdiocese and the St. Michael
Center for something.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have a statement from Monsignor Rossetti in response to this. So you have that statement?
Yeah.
I sent you that statement.
Yep.
All right, let's bring the statement up. So this was Father Rossetti's response, or Monsignor Rossetti's response. I am saddened by the decision of the Archdiocese of Washington to cut off its affiliation with the St. Michael Center for Spiritual Renewal. I ask forgiveness for any ways that I have not been faithful to the teachings of the Church's magisterium, particularly in the cited video on aliens and the demonic. I believe it is of the utmost importance to be obedient to the Church, and I will continue to endeavor to subject all that I do and the center to be thus obedient. Also, I will continue to encourage all to do so as well. As I often say, stay in the boat. That is, stay in the bark of Peter. It will lead you safely home. I am grateful for the 19 years of ministering in the Archdiocese of Washington as its exorcist, and I thank the Archdiocese for its support and blessing all these years. We will remember the Cardinal and all the ADW in our prayers for this important ministry. SMC plans to continue its ministry elsewhere. God's abundant blessings be yours, Monsignor Stephen Rossetti. So what you would think, so the thing is, I want to find the Archdiocese's statement because they came right out and said, okay, so it's in the Daily Mail article.
Did you send that to me?
It's in there, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see that article. Let me pull that up.
Okay. One of America's most prominent Catholic exorcists has been stripped of his official role after claiming that many UFO sightings may actually be manifestations of demonic forces. Monsignor Stephen Rossetti, a priest, psychologist, and longtime exorcist of the Archdiocese of Washington, sparked controversy with a video warning Christians about what he believes is a hidden spiritual danger behind the UFO phenomenon. In the video posted Friday to YouTube page of the St. Michael Center, Rossetti suggested that many unexplained aerial sightings are not extraterrestrial visitors, but demons attempting to deceive humanity, citing Ephesians 6:12. So I want to see what McElroy said. The remarks triggered a swift response from church leaders, with Cardinal Robert McElroy subsequently removing Rossetti from his position as exorcist for the Archdiocese. The Archdiocese also severed ties with the center.
I don't see.
I want to see what.
Well, hold on. What claim? It doesn't have it.
It doesn't have it. So Washington D. So McElroy had them pull the article down because they got such crazy pushback. Like, first off, all right. So we have the clip. We have the clip of what he said. So I said actual video that was removed. Apparently,
the one right above that clip.
It's above that. Yeah, the one right above that. So this is what Monsignor Rossetti actually said.
Yeah, with you for a moment about something which is very much in the news today and on people's minds. That's the whole thing about UFOs and life on other planets. Could there be? Sure, there could be. We don't know. The church has said there's nothing incompatible with the faith about believing that there's life on other planets. So sure, you could believe that and be a good Catholic. I personally don't think there is. My mother did, my sainted mother, God bless her. She was convinced there were UFOs and aliens and other planets. Fine, whatever. But there's a danger here, and I want to raise that as an exorcist. I want to raise that danger. And that is that demons like to hide. They don't want us to know they're around. They don't want us to know what they're doing because they're more effective when we don't realize it. And they can kind of get into your head, and manipulate things in the world to influence us to do evil. The scriptures are very clear. Here's what it says. For our struggle is not with flesh and blood, but with the powers and rulers of this present darkness, with evil spirits. So put on the armor of God, that you may be able to resist on the evil day. So the fight we have in this world, this spiritual battle, is with the evil one. And Jesus resisted, of course, Satan in the temptation in the desert, and we too are tempted as well. Demons indeed can break into the physical world, and at times they can be seen. We actually have some photos of such things, and that we have documented that. Sometimes people will see shadow men. Many people who are possessed will see indistinct dark shadows, possessed houses, globes of light, all sorts of things, and more direct manifestations, evil hands, we've seen that, and actually images of beast-like creatures. So at times, demons will be manifest in this world. I had an incident not too long ago where someone who had a particular gift, and we documented that gift, and she was shown a picture of a UFO. She said it's a demon. There's no question in my mind, personally, again, this is not de fide, but it's my personal belief that
all right,
probably many, if not most,
everything
of
he says,
sightings,
like the absurdity of firing this guy for saying there's nothing in the church that says you can't believe in aliens. This is just my personal belief. This is not de fide. My personal opinion as an exorcist is that these alien encounters can have some demonic influence at times. Now, this is what's crazy is, yes, that's exactly like he's
going out of the way to not be controversial.
It's so crazy. All right. So a couple of things.
Yeah,
All right. So,
McElroy was just really upset that that Monsignor here was offending some of his demonic friends. Probably is really what it all
I
comes
said
down.
he's getting fired because he's against synodality with demons.
Yeah.
It's like all right. So I have a couple of priests who reached out to me today. One of them said that Rossetti's like legit one of the best guys in this field. And the other one I talked to was like, I think this was just a power move by McElroy. Like it wasn't really about, it was just a power move. He just wanted to, he just hates, orthodoxy. And, you have, but the thing is, I'll say this.
It's like, so Joseph Stalin, right? Stalin wanted a list every day of the people that were going to be killed and purged. And Stalin every day would either randomly just cross off names or randomly write in names of people, not for any reason, just because he could, right? Just to show he was the boss.
So the thing is, if McElroy would have said, I'm removing him because of his social media presence, like I do understand a bishop maybe not wanting his priests to be all over social media.
Especially an exorcist.
Yeah. Like, because look, there is something about sensationalism with exorcists that you have to be cautious of. And I could see that being a legitimate reason, but that's not what McElroy said. McElroy said he's firing him because the things he said challenged they challenged the church's teaching very, very, what did he say? He said, he basically said,
I wonder if I can find that.
Rossetti challenged the church's very precise teaching on angels and the demonic. Something like so similar to that.
Right. In like, I could, if he had said something like the demons were copulating with the demons appearing as aliens were copulating with women's hybrids.
Yeah.
Like even then, I don't think that violates anything that's taught. David.
No, and especially because he's prefacing it with, "This is my opinion. This is not what the church teaches. This is just me personally. I think this is a possibility." This is what's really interesting is this guy is a former intelligence, like he worked in the Air Force,
Rossetti.
like former Rossetti. So like there's a good chance he's linked up with some of these people in the intel agencies and hearing stories about this stuff that are making him go, whoa. This is definitely the idea that there is alien life, like little green men from other planets is so freaking insanely preposterous. The idea that there's beings that traveled millions of light years from another galaxy and made it here is psychotic. I'm sorry. Like it just defies all logic.
So, okay. So the wording in the statement said, Rossetti's remarks gravely undermined the church's very precise teaching on the devil, demons, and exorcism.
How?
In
what way did he just undermine the church's very precise teaching on the devil, angels, and demons?
Especially because so much of the church's teaching on those things is somewhat speculative. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
very little of it is de fide.
Jimmy Aiken, aliens have feelings too. I said, well, first off, I don't think McElroy had any idea how much this would expand outside of even the typical Catholic media sphere. Like he doesn't know the hornet's nest he kicked because the alien topic is way bigger than just trad Catholics.
Right.
The alien topic is an entity on its own. Like that, if you're going to start a podcast, right? the reason Rob and I were able to start this podcast is because we were in a very niche corner of the internet, right? Like you're in this niche corner of the internet and it's like you get certain people on as guests and other Catholics are going to get, the YouTube algorithm is going to recommend you to. If you weren't Catholic and you wanted to start a niche podcast and gain traction, you go into the alien conversation, you start getting some of those
Look at
guys
Steve Skojek.
there you go. Like that's where you go, because there's this very niche, dedicated fan base who are super interested in this stuff, because they have replaced angels and God with aliens.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all seeking the heavenly bodies and the heavenly, the heavenly. So they've just replaced they've replaced the heavenly hosts with aliens, because we're all looking towards the heavens.
Yep.
And it is a religious cult, right? It's like you do the same thing if you want to start a podcast, you start talking about vegan stuff, or you start talking about or crypto. Like there's all these little different niches in the internet world, and aliens is a big one.
Yes.
So McElroy doing this, he's not just kicking the traditional Catholic hornet's nest. There's an entire Protestant Christian realm that is dealing with this, and there is an entire secular realm that is dealing with it. Like, you're breaking way out of your typical pushback zone as a cardinal. So now the Daily Mail's picking up the story, and like mainstream news sources are picking this article up. So he's getting pushback on a level he did not expect whatsoever. So they pull the article down, they pull the tweet down, and now they're just sitting back on, whoa, what the hell did we just do?
It's
that's actually what you need. You need it to come from secular news sources,
right? Because that's who they respect and care about.
Yeah, they're not worried about pissing off the Taylor Marshalls and the Avoiding Babylons. Like, they don't even care about that. They're very much worried about pissing off the CNNs and like those people are very concerned with this topic also. And they have people on who are talking about it being demonic and things like that. So it's like talk about a disruption in ecumenical dialogue. You know how many Protestant denominations are just going to write McElroy off over this? The Protestants are just as enthusiastic about this topic as any traditional Catholic.
The cops who were just talking about potential union and like in a Vatican III conference, or they're gonna be like, wait a minute, you guys believe in aliens? No way.
I mean, what do they think these things are? Like, there's a couple of different options, right? One is people are on drugs, hallucinogens, and they're having these hallucinations. Another is mental illness. Another is government psyop, like total government psyop. And the other is
military military technology. I think is probably behind a good portion.
The majority of them, I would think.
Of the actual UFO sightings.
Yeah.
The abductions,
dude, even all the videos we've seen, they're like, they defy the laws of physics. I have not seen anything that defies the laws of physics, especially when you're talking about a lightweight drone that doesn't have a person on it. Like, the things they can make drones do these days are incredible. I mean, it's just there's and we don't know how long the government's had that kind of technology. We don't know the technology the government has. They don't defy the laws of physics. They go fast.
They go fast.
That's not defying the laws of physics. They're fast. Oh my gosh. They'll go from this way to that way really fast, and a person would get crushed by this.
You know how I know you're not autistic? You look at an awesome military fighter jet and you're like, oh, it goes fast.
I mean, it's cool. Great. It goes fast. No, but honestly, I'm more impressed by a jet that goes fast with a person in it, because you're talking about G-force that can hurt a person, things like that.
And all that, yeah.
But yeah, if you're talking about a drone that's an unmanned drone, like, you don't know what technologies the government has to make the thing look like it's going 300 miles an hour one way to a dead stop and goes the other way. Like, I don't know. It doesn't defy the laws of physics. No, I'm the furthest thing from autistic ever. Like, do you guys know what autism is? Socially awkward and can't make eye contact and stuff. Like, I'm the least autistic person on the planet, I think. I don't know. I just like those options are, it's like mental illness, drug use, government, tech, psyop, or demonic. Like, that's it. There's no green men
a combination
from
of
planet.
all of them. Yeah.
Yes. It's not aliens from another planet, guys. I promise you it's not. It's just not. Like, dude, I'm listening to Gresh, some of these guys, and he's like, they have aliens. Some of them are 3 feet tall. Some of them are 50 feet tall. And it's like
50 feet tall. Where do they have it?
Like, he literally said there are 50-foot tall aliens. And he's like, well, just think about the diversity of the different biological life that's out in the universe. And the government has 50-foot tall aliens. It's like, you are a retard. Like, I'm sorry. Shut up. This isn't real. The things that people
the government
believe,
couldn't even hide Hunter Biden's crack. You think they can hide a 50-foot tall alien?
What's really amazing is the things that people will believe with absolutely no evidence just to not believe in God. Yeah. Like, that's really how what it comes down to me. It's the things that people will believe, like this alien stuff. They show the grainiest, most garbage video quality stuff you've ever seen in your life. And people are like, oh, there's life on other planets. This is proof. And I'm like, what? What? I have a bleeding host over there. A Eucharistic miracle. That's not enough proof. No. The grainy video from 57 years ago, that's proof there's alien. You guys are retarded. I'm sorry. Like, there's no proof of any of this stuff. Nothing. It's so silly and dumb. I was waiting when these cache of freaking videos came out in this last release, and I'm like, just show me one. Just show me one thing that is like,
tens of
holy
thousands
crap,
of people.
What is this?
Tens of thousands of people see the Sundance in Fatima. Mass hallucination. A few dirty hippies get butt probed by an alien in the 60s. Must be
absolutely.
extraterrestrial.
This is definitive proof. Absolutely. No, I don't know what to tell you if you don't believe it. It's just so dumb, man. I don't know. Demonic backfire. They're going to get people to actually look up what the church teaches on aliens, and we'll find people like Daniel O'Connor right before disclosure. Yeah, it's going to be the Streisand effect for Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel O'Connor, man, he had the foresight to see this crap coming. This guy, what a gold mine he set himself up with. We should have been the alien guys, Rob.
I know.
Dude, he puts a video, he puts a 4-hour video out and it gets 150,000 views. A 4-hour video sitting through 4 hours. I love Daniel. He puts 4 hours out, he gets 150,000 views. We're trying to put these 5-minute clips up, and it's like, oh, we got 20K. Awesome.
Yeah.
How the hell are you guys sitting through 4 hours of Daniel? He is amazing, man. He's a savant. Yeah, Daniel really has been killing it. He knew this was going to happen and it was coming down the pike, and he put the work in ahead of time, and man, did that pay off. And plus, he like truly believes from the bottom of his heart this is going to be the deception.
Yeah, he does.
So it's like it was a work of passion for him. It was when you have something like that happen where you really believe something, you love doing the research on it, it just kind of comes together, man. And now he's the guy everybody wants to get on. To be frank, I like Daniel, but I fall asleep sometimes and wake up and I'm entertained for 2 more hours.
He takes an hour-long nap in the middle of the 4-hour video.
I love Daniel too, man. Like I said, I'll start his videos and I'll get through like 45 minutes and I'm like, all right, Daniel, I love you, but I don't know if I can finish this one. It's just
to have a conversation with.
Oh, I love having him on our show,
Yeah,
but I'm
I
saying
agree.
his videos, when he does a 4-hour video, it's hard to, I don't mean when he's on with us. I love when he's on with us. He's the guy everybody wants to get on now because he knew this stuff was coming. Anthony, why didn't you think of getting Jimmy Fakin to call in and comment on this story? That would have been gold. We do need to do another.
We need to talk with Ryan.
Who?
Ryan.
Yeah. You broke up.
Oh.
We need to have him. We need another Jimmy Aiken call in. I'll set that up.
Yeah. Do you think he could get us?
Awful.
Is it that bad? Can you hear me?
You're frozen for me. I don't know if the audience.
But can you hear me?
I hear you, but it's choppy and you're freezing up on me. I don't know.
Do you think he could get us Sam Hyde?
Maybe. I don't know, because he couldn't get me Gavin McInnes when he worked there, so I don't know.
Yeah, but that's because you don't. That's because Gavin loves Jews.
I wanted Gavin and Anthony Cumia, and he couldn't pull that off for me. So
It's weird. Some people can see and hear me, and others it's terrible.
it comes in and out. Like right now, you're perfect, but it's not. I mean, listen, you're in the woods of Minnesota. What do you expect? It is what it is.
I'm not used to
Do
having
you,
what were you gonna say?
Do you watch the kid Mav from Minnesota?
Mav.
Yeah, he does like camping videos.
I don't know. I've never heard of him.
I gotta send you some of his videos. I'm like
Okay.
addicted to this kid's videos. He's got like he like makes these different vehicles to go and camp out in the wilderness of Minnesota with. And it's pretty cool.
I didn't tell you, but I bought a truck this week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of the pop-up tents that go in the bed of the truck and just drive that thing somewhere and camp.
Dude, that is I love the outdoor boys. There's no more videos to watch though. That's the problem. Rob, you turned me on to the outdoor boys.
I turned
right?
you on. And I think you've seen way more of their videos now than I have even.
I went back and watched I love winter camping videos.
Yeah.
Like I love when
ones.
like people do winter camping. I'm not like a fan of like hunting videos or even the fishing. Like I like seeing people rough it in the wilderness. But the kid Mav this week went he went to the Florida Keys and rented a houseboat Airbnb. And I'm like, holy cow, why did I never think of that? And I'm looking up, me and Nicole, I was looking up like houseboat Airbnbs. You could just go and stay on a houseboat on a lake. You could, there's some on Long Island you could go and stay on. And they're set up, they're basically like off-grid cabins, right? Like me and Nicole do that cabin every winter. They have houseboat cabins.
I
like
can't hear you.
Really? How about now?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can, yeah.
the lake that our town is on has two different houseboat rental companies.
Yeah.
Alone is one of my stand this.
Alone is one of my favorite shows. I hear you fine. It's weird. I don't know. Rob's internet is total garbage. I just love that it's not mine.
This is pissing me off.
It's all you, bud.
Yeah, I know it is.
I love it.
While you can hear me, if you we could rent a couple of houseboats for a weekend if you ever came up here.
That would be awesome. On the Boundary Waters or on a lake up there? Where are they?
Well, so you can't do it in the Boundary Waters. There's horsepower restrictions and stuff like that in the Boundary Waters. It's basically all canoe except for a couple of the bigger lakes.
Yeah.
But the lake our town is on is, 15 miles away from the Boundary Water. So it's real close. It's in the Superior Natural Forest. But the lake is like 15 miles long, and there's multiple campsites. So you could pull the houseboat up to a campsite, anchor it there, and the campsite will have an awesome beach on like an island, and you can just camp there all weekend.
They're houseboats that you can drive?
Yeah.
Like they're not anchored. They're not just like in a marina or
no. You drive them all over the lake, man.
Oh,
you know, like pontoon boats, right?
Yeah.
These houseboats are basically pontoon boats that are just 2-3 times as long as a normal pontoon and have a structure built on top, on top of them that will have a bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, and then usually like a slide off the roof to the water. But yeah, you drive them wherever you want to on the lake. And, a lot of people will pull them up to a campsite for a weekend and anchor it and hang out at the campsite. Yeah, that's true. You already fund Anthony's boat fund. You don't need to fund mine.
All right, guys, we got to put together Rob's boat fund. Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap this one up. We're over an hour. We're going to do Joe Heschmeyer. Had a crazy thing happen to him. Apparently someone tried to kidnap his daughter. Then we also, dude, what's his name? Ethan Stuve. Is that his name? Stuve?
No. That was his last name is Muse. Ethan Muse.
Ethan Muse?
Yeah. So I thought it was just like an online thing, and then I saw the Alexander Muse, who has like 600,000 followers on Twitter, posted that Ethan's actually his son.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So he posted and he put this whole thing out talking about how he didn't know. put this whole thing out about how he didn't know his son had this like niche Catholic Twitter fame, and found out like he heard his son's Catholic journey on a podcast. This is a really interesting story. So we're gonna go over there. We're gonna discuss that. So he was just on Frad. So
5-hour long interview, and I actually listened to it all. It was actually pretty good.
Really?
Because of Ethan, not so much. But yeah.
Rob's a huge Matt Frad fan.
No, that's
crazy development, guys. Crazy development. Rob is a huge Matt Frad fan once again. Very cool.
Ocean. Come on, man.
Irony.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. Wow.
The irony, Ocean.
No, Fred didn't cry.
Oh, no.
Fred hardly talked the whole episode. It was 5 hours. Ethan lays out like why Fatima is real and why you're stupid if you don't accept it. Then he goes through all of Padre Pio's miracles and why you're stupid if you don't believe in Padre Pio. Then he goes through Lanciano and describes why you're stupid if you don't believe Lanciano. It was 5 hours of him just in it. What his dad talks about on Twitter is like Ethan came to believe in the church.
We're doing it over there. Don't give these people.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it over there. It's actually a really awesome story. It's really interesting. So we're going to do that over there. Yeah, we got stuff for locals tonight. It's going to be a fun local show. We'll hang out over there. So if you guys are not locals members, come over. Rob's going to throw the link up right now. That's actually, if you enjoy this side, I promise you guys, you'll like locals better. Locals is definitely where we do our best content. And we give you guys behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, link is pinned in the chat. If you're watching this later, just go to avoidingbabylon.locals.com. And I'm just going to start cutting feeds here real quick.
Oh, man. If you see me over there, it means locals finally worked. If not, enjoy the money anyway. I'm glad it's... Oh, no. Wait, before we leave, did you kill YouTube yet?
We're still on YouTube.
Okay. Leave us Apple reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Apple reviews. So listen, Apple just started adding video to their podcast, right? Just like Spotify. And there's a lot of people who watch. So the people who pay the extra $3 on Apple, will they get the video portion of? They won't.
No, because that part, the subscription part of Apple Podcast doesn't have video yet.
Okay, so they'll still just get the audio version of. I like it better that way because you're paying less, and that's a route around for people to get.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's a good point.
That's actually good that they still only get. So you look, if you don't want to pay locals, you could get the audio version only on Apple. There's the bonus content on Apple.
$3 a month. Yeah.
But we want people to leave an Apple review saying the most ridiculous stuff imaginable, but just leave us 5 stars.
Keep in mind, if it gets too ridiculous, Apple just won't post it. Like you do have to get past the Apple censors.
We have some new ones, right?
Yeah, we do.
Let's pull up the new ones. We'll give you guys a little taste of what you should be doing.
The most important part is 5 stars.
5 stars, because that will get us up into the Apple algorithm, and they'll promote our show.
Okay, let me pull up the reviews here. Give me a second.
So we have some new Apple reviews. The Apple reviews was always a fun bit. And what we'll do is, if you guys leave us an Apple review, if it's funny, we will read it on the show next episode. It takes a few days to get posted. So if you guys can post the Apple review today, and then by the time next Thursday comes around, we'll do it on Thursday, because we're not going to do it Tuesday with the encyclical series, but we'll do it on Thursday. We'll read your review on air.
So the most recent one is titled Misogynists and Bigots. Do you like racism, homophobia, and bashing our greatest ally? Here's the podcast for you. Also, even if you pay, you don't get the full episodes if Rob is on vacation.
5 stars.
5-star review, yep. The one after that, bang for your buck. No, this one is actually nice to us, so we're not going to read that one. Just in time for the apocalypse. If you're struggling to find a penance harsh enough to stop the coming chastisement, listen to Anthony and Rob. 40 years fasting in the desert doesn't hold a candle to listening to a New Yorker pontificate for hours on end. 5 stars.
Stars. That's all we care about. 5 stars.
These know-it-alls make me feel like a crazy lady who has the weirdest conversations with herself because of how much I argue or agree with them. It's unbearable. Imagine trying to cook your family nice meals while wanting to knock some sense into people who can't even hear you. That's more often how I am when Thomas Nick's on, to be honest, though. And speaking of meals, they want to stay-at-home moms to police other women online, and also to stay offline and take care of our family. So which is it, guys? Because some of us would rather focus on our families than care about strangers online. Also, lobster's expensive. Unbelievable. 5 stars.
5 stars. That's it. So you guys get the point. You guys can trash the podcast. You can make fun of me and Rob. We don't care. Just make it funny and leave us 5 stars, and we will read your review on the show. So, all right, we're going to head over to locals now. We will see you guys next time. Take us out, Rob.